I've asked my followers on Instagram to ask me about my IBD, as I am currently working for Crohn's and Colitis UK, which is a charity that funds research around IBD. I've been diagnosed at the age of 21 in 2015, and it is a chronic disease, and I want to raise awareness. So, let me just put it out there. I am not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. So the advice I'm giving is through my own research and my own experience living with this disease for 9 years. Hey, beautiful people. If we have not met before, my name is B, and I am an IBD patient, burnt out millennial on a personal growth journey. I am currently fundraising and raising awareness for Crohn's and Colitis UK. I'm going to make sure to post the link in the description box below. If you're watching this on the TV, I'll post it somewhere here for easy access. I hope you find this video useful. Without further ado, let's dive in. Question 1. What is IBD? IBD stands for inflammatory bowel disease, which is a lifelong condition that affects your GI tract, where there are two main forms of IBD, which are ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. They're both autoimmune diseases, and IBD is not IBS. I have a family member with IBS, and I know they can go through a lot, but essentially it's an upset tummy. If you do not consume stuff that make your tummy upset, you're gonna be okay. With IBD, it's a chronic illness that is dangerous if it's not being managed. But before I get upset, let's go on to the next question. Do you have a bag? Okay, let's just try and explain what a bag is. Essentially, you can have a stoma if you have a part or the whole large bowel removed. If you Google IBD bag, living with a stoma. So, what is a stoma? A stoma is an opening on the wall of your tummy that brings your bowel to the outside. If you have a stoma, the contents of your gut do not travel all the way through your bowel to come out of your bottom. Instead, they come out of the stoma into a bag you wear on your tummy. Some people who have stomas call them ostomates. Okay, so do I have a bag? No, I do not have a bag. I know people that do, and there are quite famous people that have got bags. Recently, we had Louise Thompson talking about her journey. I'm gonna link her profile in the description box so you can have a look. She talks openly about it. There's Mr. Colitis, and he's posting educational videos about bags, which I think is great because it should not be a taboo. It's something that saves lives. There are people that have bowel cancers that have stomach bags, and they actually save lives. I do not have a stomach bag yet. I have gone through a very severe flare-up back in March 2023, or this is when I was being hospitalized, and I had to have a conversation with a surgeon, and I was at a very high risk of having a bag fitted. Sometimes you can reverse it and go back when not the whole of your bowel was being removed, but I don't have one. I am definitely not ready for one because I think it takes a toll on your mental health, whether you like it or not, whether you're strong or not. I think this is something that can affect you mentally, but I know for a fact it saves lives. So when it comes to it, I know I'm going to be ready. And if I'm not going to be ready, I know it's going to be the right thing to do. Actually, there is an account of two friends. I think they're called Double Bagging It. Absolutely love their profile. I will make sure to link them in the description box. Are you being medicated? If so, what treatment are you on? Yes, I am being medicated. Let me just give you a bit of a background story. When I was first diagnosed, I had ulcerative colitis, and it was in my large bowel, and it was a mild, it was only mild. And I was being medicated with mesalazine, which is in the form of tablets, and I was taking that for a few years, and I was in remission for a very long time as well. And then I had a lot of stress due to what's been happening in my life, and that has affected my condition a lot. So when I've started feeling unwell, I had a colonoscopy done. A colonoscopy is a test where you can see on the camera what's happening in your guts. And they have taken biopsies, which means they have taken samples out of my gut, large bowel, to test them, and they have learned that my UC has turned into or evolved into Crohn's. They can say whether it's Crohn's or colitis by the cells that are actually in the biopsies. I will make sure to post the actual name of the cells that confirm which disease it is on the screen somewhere, because I can't remember the name of it now. And at the moment, I am taking immunosuppressive drugs. I am happy to announce I've been in remission since December 2023, and I am getting better. I am still facing a lot of side effects from the medication I was on before that, because I've tried 2 biological medications and they were a no-go, and a different immunosuppressive drug, and I was on steroids. I don't know how to pronounce those names. I'm just gonna make sure they're on the screen for those that are interested. And now I am on a tablet that is essentially for ulcerative colitis patients. I've been told that this is a new drug and it's not available in every country, not even in Europe. So I'm very privileged to be living in a country that does have a supply of it. And for those that don't know, National Health Service in the UK is free, so I don't have to pay for my medication. I don't pay for the prescription right now because it's being sent to my home. I couldn't be more grateful. I think, if I'm not wrong, I think the medication that I'm on now would cost somewhere between, I think, around £5,000 per year, and then it obviously depends on how high the dosage is. I'm on 15, is it milligrams? Honestly, I should know this thing, but I'm just taking 1 tablet a day and I can go on with my life. Have you had any biologics, IVS? I'm starting new treatment. Any advice? Okay, so there is a biological medication available for IBD patients, and the one I was on was oh my gosh. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing, but there was a medication I was on that was created in the ovary of a hamster, and I'm gonna do a shout out to Lauren because we were both on the same form, I think, of biologics, and we said we're hamster tweens or sisters. So yeah, that was just something I remembered. But yes, to answer your question, I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't know how much of it is interesting to you. I don't want to bore you to death. If you want to know more about the medication I was on, let me know. There's a full story. Almost died. Okay, no, maybe not died. I had a really bad reaction to one of them. So I had infliximab and Vedo. So these are the 2 that I've tried. Any advice? My advice is that if you're starting a new treatment, report anything new that's happening to you, any side effects, even if it's a headache, call them. I've had really bad headaches after one. There were like migraine headaches, which were quite common, but I still reported it to my IBD nurses. With the first one, I started having a reaction. I kind of felt a hot flush going across my face, and then the next thing I knew, I couldn't really breathe, but I made sure that the nurses were aware. My advice is don't wear makeup so they can see any rashes or hot flashes or anything happening to your skin straight away. Make sure you let them know if anything is happening. And I don't want to scare you off because you might not have a reaction. I've only had a reaction to one of those medications, and I'm sure you're going to be fine. Just follow the advice you're given by the medical professionals. Make sure to eat, and don't be afraid to ask for a coffee or tea when you're there. And I hope all works out for you. Any advice for someone newly diagnosed? Yes, I've got so much. Well, first of all, welcome to the shit show. It's gonna be okay. I know every patient is different, but you are gonna be okay. And not everyone agrees with this, but make sure you're eating properly. Seeing a dietitian could be a good idea, but make sure it's a good dietitian, not a nutritionist, dietitian. They are regulated in the United Kingdom. Listen to your body. You're probably aware that you get used to pain. You get used to going to the toilet ever so often. Just listen to your body. Do not ignore it. It's going to send you signals. If there's anything new happening, talk to your IBD nursing team, your doctor, or your GP. Make sure you note things that are good for you and are bad for you. I would definitely do my own research and maybe speak to a dietitian. If you can get one through NHS, great, but make sure they're good. I've had really bad experience, but that could have been just me. I was in a big city, and the quality of dietitians there weren't as good. I've got a private dietitian now, and I'm learning a lot about food and how it can impact my bowel. I want to say that I know some people don't agree with it, and that's absolutely okay. But diet is everything. I am not saying you should not be taking medication. You should. If that's what your doctor's telling you, you definitely should. This is a condition that has no cure, and I don't think it can be managed very well without medication. That's my personal opinion. I am not a doctor. Do what your doctor says. You can always get second opinion. Listen to your body. Eat clean. And I know fiber might not be good, so try and watch your body and see what's good for you. Don't have sugar. Don't have bread if you don't have to. Don't have too much rice because that's just fucking sugar. The only sugar I would have would be out of fruit that work for me are bananas and berries. I'm not really good with oranges, or I can't have grapefruit because of medication I'm on, but oranges, kiwis might not be the best choice. Do not have nuts or seeds. This is just general advice. You shouldn't have nuts or seeds of any kind because they can get stuck in the wounds of your bowels, or your stomach if you have got ulcers on your stomach. So just advice there, because they get digested in your bowel. So if you eat nuts or seeds, they can actually irritate it. So it's just common sense that it's no good for you. To summarize, because I just blabbed a lot, listen to your doctor, but get a second opinion. If you're worried, see a dietitian, but make sure they're good. And listen to your body. Do not ignore the signals. Get plenty of sleep and take a break. Oh my gosh, take a break. It's okay to relax and take a break. Absolutely okay. And remember, it's okay not to be okay. And this is my personal advice. Get a therapist if you can. Anyone with autoimmune disease should see a therapist at some point of their lives. If someone says they're okay with being sick, they're not. No one's okay with being sick. It's not something we should be okay with. We move on before I get angry. Does your IBD affect your period or vice versa? Yes, your periods can affect your bowel movements. We don't know why, but it just happens, and it could be because of the cramps, but it happens. IBD can affect your period, can make it less regular. I am on hormonal contraception, so I wouldn't know how much it actually affects me per se, but I would say my period has been a lot more irregular when I wasn't on the contraception. And yes, period will affect my bowel movements. I do tend to have irritated bowel whilst on my period, and that was never the case prior to IBD. How did you first learn about your IBD? Let's raise awareness. Well, thank you very much for that question. I was diagnosed almost a year after my first symptoms, and my first symptoms were diarrhea. I didn't really do much about it, but I was a person that was constipated. If anything, I've never had diarrhea in my life. So when it happened, I thought it was a bit odd, and then it went away, and then it came back again, and then it went away, and then it came back again. And I was having back problems as well. So this started in January, and in February I went to see a doctor, and I told them about it, and they were like, oh, there's this gene H27, I don't know, and they said it could be connected. So they took some bloods, or they referred me to get some bloods done. I've been told everything's okay, and then come April, May, so a few months later, my diarrhea comes back. The first hour of like waking up was very painful. The moment I woke up, I would end up on the toilet seat. So I've rang my GP again, and they go like, oh, holla. The last time we took your bloods, we didn't have enough samples to run all the tests, so we have to redo them. And I'm like, okay then, thank you for letting me know. So I've gone back, got the bloods done, and they go like, oh, there's definitely some inflammation happening. We need you to have more tests. So they referred me to a gastro consultant or a specialist at the hospital, and I had to wait for that appointment in July. So this is me suffering for 7 months already. I go in, and they go like, oh, we're gonna have to run some tests. They referred me to have a colonoscopy. I knew what a colonoscopy was, but I didn't know how to prepare for it. And there's a whole thing. I could go on for like an hour how to prepare for a colonoscopy, but we move. And once I had it done, before I went in, I was speaking to, I think it's like a tech assistant or something that takes you in and stuff. We had a conversation, was a young bloke, I remember. And he asked me about my symptoms, and I said, yeah, I've got diarrhea all the time, cramps in my tummy, and mucus, and sometimes blood in my stool as well. And he says, that sounds like IBD. One conversation I had with the guy, they took me in, and they go like, oh yeah, there's definitely ones here. They've taken samples to be able to establish which one it is. And that was 23rd of December. And I got my diagnosis. Yeah, I got my diagnosis the 23rd. I think the colonoscopy could have taken place on like 21st or something. So I got my diagnosis on 23rd of December. My GP called, and they said, oh my God, this is so much more serious than we thought. You're going to have to be medicated. And Christmas Eve, I had my medication, and the rest is history. If you feel that if there's something happening to you that is out of ordinary and is happening for longer than a week, I would suggest you go and see a doctor. Simple as, can you die from it? Yes, you can. It is not a disease you die from per se, but if it's not treated, yes, you can die from it. You can die from dehydration and all sorts. And I am 100% sure if I lived 100 years ago, I would have died, because I would probably shit my guts out. 100% sure. There's so many other side effects that come with the disease that people don't talk about. So yeah, yes, you can die from it, and your lifespan is shorter. So I will not live as long as I would have if I haven't had that condition. I think it's somewhere between 6 and 8 years that you live shorter. Might not sound like a lot, but I'd rather die as a 90-year-old, not an 80-year-old. Just saying. Wishful thinking. But yes, you can die from it. But you don't have to. If you take care of yourself, please take care of yourself. See a doctor. Thank you to each and every one of you guys that have asked those questions. I feel like there's a lot that can be said. These are the most commonly asked questions that I had. And yeah, all of these questions are valid and important. If you know someone living with IBD, do not give them advice unless they ask for it. This is something that really triggers me, when people try and give me advice as if I haven't tried everything. I'm seeing enough doctors and nurses, and I'm doing my own research. When I say I've been fatigued, I don't need advice. I'm just sharing. Do you know what I mean? Do not give advice, and do not get annoyed at your friends or family that cancel on your plans that live with Crohn's or colitis, because they do not do it on purpose. It's a very unpredictable disease, and they might have been okay in the morning, they might not be okay in the evening. So just be patient, please. Do not compare IBD to IBS. Please don't. If you're newly diagnosed, listen to your body, take rest, and give yourself some grace. It's okay not to be okay. It took me a very, very long time to realize that life is not a race, and it's okay to slow down sometimes for the sake of your health. And remember, whatever you do, make sure to love yourself first.